Hey, this is Marcus Washington, MTC Media, taking a look at the Phoenix Suns. Now, the Phoenix Suns are in an interesting situation under this current CBA and being around the second apron and everything that comes with being around the second apron. The Suns right now have to find a way to either make this roster maximize to make a deep run into the playoffs, or they're going to have to sell off some parts. So when you think about the first one, how can they make a run deep into the playoffs? We know Booker, Beal, Durant. So let's start with the rookies. When you look at Ryan Dunn, Oso Iguodala, and Jalen Bridges. Well, Jalen Bridges was signed to a two-way deal. I would suspect that most of his time will be spent over in G. Dunn is a defense first wing, potential 3 and D guy. We're a long way from the 3 part of that. The D, he can guard. He's a switchable wing. He'll be a switchable wing on the NBA level, and that does have value. He can finish on the break. Right now, his offense is going to be a question, partially because the way he was used in college at the University of Virginia, they didn't really focus on having him involved offensively outside of putbacks and stuff like that. And then also Iguodala, the reason why I like him the most is, one, I think that he's going to be really, really good in this league because of his length and his athleticism. The offense will be fine. The defense is already there. And it helped that Marquette used a lot of NBA principles. So he is used to, he will be getting used to it on the NBA level, but he's used to some of the things that's being done in the NBA conceptually. And that certainly will help him when it comes to making the adjustment. Now, when you look at the veterans on the roster, it starts with Ball. I just think that Phoenix needs to find a way to maximize Ball, whatever that maximization is. But they have to get something out of him. He can be a unique talent. And right now, it's the Phoenix Suns believing and giving him chances to be able to show that talent in extended minutes. I mean, he has, the biggest fan of his is Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal thinks he'd be great if he's given a chance, and maybe Shaq is right. A couple of other veterans, O'Neal, they essentially had to give money to Royce O'Neal because how they are capped out and some of the restrictions they already have and adding to the roster, he certainly benefited, and you're looking for stuff out of him. Damian Lee is being reported that he's going to re-sign there, along with, there was a report earlier today that Monty Morris might also be heading to Phoenix. So that gives you some veteran ball handlers to go with those guys, get the ball to Nurkic and those type of guys. But if that doesn't work, now it becomes who you trade, who would be interested, and what can you get. So they got Bradley Beal on pennies and nickels simply because Washington was in a horrendous situation with how the previous front office, how they managed that roster. Now, Phoenix needs to understand if they're going to move on from Booker or Durant, which to me, if you don't think that this team can go deep into the playoffs, you got to get rid of one or the other or both, because you'll never get out of luxury tax, first apron, second apron hell. And if you're in that, you're not going to be able to rebuild, especially when you consider Phoenix doesn't have any picks. So this idea of holding on to them, if you can't get something out this roster, it's a no-go, because going forward, you're not going to be able to fix it. So are there teams out there that would have enough picks, even if you involve a third team that will be a contender, that would take Booker or take Durant or sell them off to 2 different teams? And I don't know how many picks of contenders that people are going to have left. Obviously, the first place people are going to look, there's 2 places when we talk about contenders that people are going to look. New Orleans Pelicans, OKC Thunder. There is no reason for OKC Thunder to bring either one of them in, especially not Durant. If you want to come up with some sort of reason to bring in Booker, that's fine. But Durant, no. And then the Pelicans, I don't know how it would work with Durant. in Zion, it has a chance to work depending on how this season moves along. But when you have a guy who wants to shoot the ball as much as DeJounte Murray already coming, then you add a guy like Durant, so on and so forth. It would have to be a chemistry fit. For Booker, there's a lot of teams that would take Booker. I don't know if there's a lot of contenders that would have what you would want to get for Booker, and Phoenix just cannot give him away. Another team that has a boatload of picks is Utah, but Utah is not anywhere close to contending, and we never know when Danny Ainge is going to flip the script and go from being a seller to trying to be a contender. I mean, all that stuff is stored in Danny's head. Teams like Golden State, because you don't want to take back a bunch of money, teams like Golden State they're not going to help. They didn't want to give away, they didn't want to trade away Kuminga as it is, and any deal for one of those two, you're going to want Kuminga out the deal, and they didn't want to include Kuminga in a deal for Paul George. So that's where it is with the Phoenix Suns. I would say from the beginning of the season to the trade deadline is really, really, really going to determine what you're going to get out this team and where this team's future is. It's Marcus Washington, MTC Media.